for a new year ahead with Rob Jeter back for year 2 with Southern Utah, ready to see where this season takes us. We have the Thunderbirds up next on the WAC men's basketball preview show. Kendra Sheehan, Mike O'Donnell joining you here. In Southern Utah, 10-21 overall last year, 5-15 in the WAC. One of the few teams that did not make the conference tournament last year. What's it going to take to get these T-Birds rolling?
I think you're just looking for continuity, right? I mean, 5% of their scoring came back, and it was just something of a reset and reload. And so you saw some building blocks last season, and it's usually not a rocket ship to the stars after 1 year. It's baby steps you take, and that's what I expect from Southern Utah this season.
We'll go ahead and welcome in second-year head coach Rob Jeter. Coach, thanks so much for being here. Year 2 at the helm of this program. What were some of your biggest takeaways that you learned from year 1 that you hope to apply this year?
Well, last year, when we got the job, it was late, and I had to put together a staff. So the importance last year was getting together a really good staff, and then start to add the players. Every year, there's a lot of turnover on a lot of rosters. So it's not the fact that we have to get new players. It's just making sure we have a staff that can really work with these guys and really get us going. So we feel very confident in that. I feel really good about the depth of talent that we have. And baby steps, I'm not sure if it's baby steps for us. We're looking to take a big step forward. So we're excited.
Yeah, I love that, Coach. I don't think people fully understand how difficult it was when you took that job. The portal had already been open for a month. And then you have to dive in, and it's complete chaos, and you're able to put together a roster. And obviously, with 3 starters gone from last year's team, Dominique Ford is a joy to watch on film. And, I mean, his shiftiness and pace is awesome. And what is it like coaching him?
Yeah, well, I'm sure, Dominique had opportunities to leave, and he chose to stay. So we're very fortunate and very thankful for that. But to have a player return that averages about 16 a game, that knows the ins and outs on what we like and what we don't like, that's very important because you definitely need continuity. And we're looking for him to step up and have an even better year.
Now, Coach, you mentioned how late that you got the job last year. How much value is there now that you've had that full off season with the team and getting able to kind of work out some of the things that you might not have necessarily had time to do last year?
Well, again, it's about doing what you know we can do. So this is the 3rd program that I've taken over, so this isn't new. But it's making sure that you have the right pieces and the right people in place. As I mentioned earlier, I feel like we have both. We have depth on our roster. We have a staff that now has a lot more continuity. We know the league is very tough, well coached. We know the venues now. We've been around a little bit, so it's going to be an exciting season.
And we're not in the locker room and in practice every day, Coach, and it certainly appears on paper the experience and depth is there. But I think when we talk about depth, we just assume, we always think about games, of looking at the bench and look, I've got 3, 4, 5 guys off the bench I know I can bring in. But depth in practice as you're preparing to continue to grow the program is a huge deal. And how has that been for you so far in the preseason?
Yeah, that's the one thing I think we took care of in the offseason. We definitely have more bodies, just like everyone in the country. People were getting hurt in the preseason. We've had our share of injuries, but we've been able to continue to have quality practices. That's because we have quality guys from top to bottom. So we've been able to avoid some of those things that we experienced last year. Last year, limited bodies, a lot of new faces. Everyone was learning together, including my staff. So we've hit the ground running this year. We have continuity, and we have a lot more depth and quality depth.
Now, returning to your top 5 scorers from last year, Dominique Ford, Jamari Sibley. What have you challenged those returning guys with this offseason to help get this team ready to go?
Well, we're asking for leadership, right? These guys have led us in scoring, or they have put up quality numbers in this league, and now we have new players, and they have new teammates. And leadership is always important. So we're asking for better leadership, yes.
Thank you so much, Coach. We'll go to Mike O'Donnell, breaking down a little bit of Dominique Ford basketball.
Let's do it. It's all about pace for Dominique Ford. So if we go ahead and run this action, you're going to see him in a lot of action on the offensive side of the floor. So if as the play develops, watch what happens. Okay, freeze it. freeze it right there. So as he receives this down screen, he's going to come up into open space. All right, as we clear it and run it, when he receives the ball, he's going to have, now freeze it again. They love to run this action for him because after that pin down happens, the ball screen, he can use it right away as there's action on the opposite side of the floor, but he decides to reject the ball screen and go to the open baseline side. I love guards that look to reject as often as they possibly can, and then you see that Gortat screen, the roll man actually becomes a moving screener. It's really good action, and their ability to use it inside of space and use Ford's ability to manipulate the defense, snaking around that screen, tough lay-in. Dominique Ford is always involved in the action. Third in the WAC in usage rate. He's involved in ball screens, pin downs, full court press. Dominique Ford is everywhere.
He is fifth leading scorer in the conference last year. As we go ahead and take a look at the non-conference schedule for the Thunderbirds, they'll open at home against Western New Mexico. Then they have 4 straight games at home. They'll go to at Loyola, University of Chicago, San Diego, Idaho, UCLA, Arizona, all on the road there. So a lot of tough matchups for Rob Jeter's crew. You also got New Mexico State, UTRGV, and some other ones. You see CSU Bakersfield, but a couple of big Power 5 conferences.
Yeah, well, when you've got a player like Dominique Ford in college basketball, especially early in the season, can you steal one? Can you steal one at UCLA? Can you steal one at Arizona? Is there an opportunity to grab that non-conference win that increases not just your net, but the net of the WAC itself? So there's certainly plenty of winnable games, multiple challenges. I mean, even if you look at outside of the UCLA-Arizona game, at New Mexico State, tough environment, tough game. The San Diego game, a very tough game. And then at Loyola, not easy. I mean, this is going to be a serious slate for Southern Utah.
And you look at, they start the season with 4 games at home. Some people say Road Warriors to start, and it's tough to get home conference or tough non-conference games. What do you see in having four games at home to start the year and really, stay in Cedar City?
Oh, it's the best. As a player, are you kidding me? You get to sleep in your own bed, you wake up, you walk over to the gym. That's a beautiful thing. It's also good for the transfers. Guys like Terrence Thompson, JT Langston, who transferred from Rider, who was 10th in the Metro in blocks. He's going to fit in with that Southern Utah system very well.
Certainly. We'll welcome in Dominique Ford and Brock Felder joining us now. And Dominique, I'll start with you as you're the team's leading scorer, back nearly 16 points a game. What have you worked on in the offseason to elevate that number even more this year?
Mostly just becoming a better leader, just refreshing the page, not even worrying about last year, just focusing on a new complete year, just getting back to the basics, shooting, dribbling, and just being a leader for the team, because that's what we need this year, especially with a lot of new guys.
All right, Dominique, I love watching you on film. I really do. I like your pace. I like your shiftiness. Every time I watch you reject ball screens or come off different Gortat action, you have a lot of Dwayne Wade in your game. I don't want to speak for you and the fact that maybe that's a guy that you didn't study, but I'm curious as to who are some of the guys in the league now or were previously in the NBA that you like to watch and study?
Growing up, a lot of people would say not Dwayne Wade, because when I was younger, I was always making hustle plays, and so Dwayne Wade's not, nothing new for me being compared to, but like DeMar DeRozan, just that mid-range, that slow tempo, Kyrie with the handles, stuff like that, and just watching different players, because you can learn from many different people and just combine it onto one.
And Brock, you're one of the few returners as well, alongside Dominique Ford. How does this year's team look compared to last, getting some continuity back and also adding in those new pieces?
Yeah, we did get a lot of new players. I think this year we're looking really good. We all get along very well, and we have a different kind of chemistry this year, and everyone's just trying to make each other better, and we hold each other accountable.
And Brock, obviously coming off this past season, there's always ways to get better, right? And your coaching staff talks to you about that as a team, and your coaching staff talks to you about that individually. And Dominique talked a little bit about the guys that he studies to always kind of get better, but For your game specifically, Brock, not necessarily players that you studied, but for your game, where do you see yourself taking the next step?
Down low in the post and at the forward, like a lot of post moves, jump hooks, all that kind of stuff. I think is going to elevate my game.
And Dominique, you were also second on the team last year in assists. What allows you to be able to see the floor so well, and how do you continue to improve on that area of your game?
Just watching a lot of film, just studying the game. When you're a student of the game, you're just able to pick up on those things and just constantly seeing certain things where defense may be, and just, you know, certain spaces on the court are just open and where to get to, where the defense reacts, just making the defense react and just playing off my IQ.
Can we get a quick preview on a couple of the guys, all right? Like Dominique, so I have two guys in particular. First, Dominique, you know, tell me about JT Langston, because he was one of the top defenders and shot blockers in the Metro Atlantic, and what has he been like in practice?
He's been amazing help. He's been pushing us and just making us work together, you know, because last year we might have been missing, you know, more of a presence on the four-way. So now this year having JT is a huge help with blocking defensively and just having more of a bigger presence to our team this year.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Brock. Tavy Jackson, Malik Landon, Hersey Miller. I mean, which one of those three guys has impressed you the most in practice?
Definitely Tavy. He's just a beast. He always gets the O board. I mean, if you don't box him out, he's getting that O board. Plays hard, both ends of the floor. Great point guard. He's going to help the team a lot.
Brock, what do you think it's going to take for this team to take an even bigger step in year two with Rob Jeter?
You say that again one more time?
Yeah, what is it going to take for this team to take another step now that Rob Jeter's in year two and you guys have had a whole year of experience under your head coach? You know, what's it going to take for this team to get to that next level?
I think it's just playing together and trusting each other. Just being there for each other, holding each other accountable, and just see how far we can take the team.
Dominique, Brock, thank you both so much. Good luck this season. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's the Tarleton State Texans.